Yo, what's good everyone? Today I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite tournament or GPP plays for this Week 13 NFL DraftKings main slate. Let's dive right into it. And like I always do here in these videos, I'm going to give you a high-level overview of my cheat sheet, breaking down a couple of game stacks that I like targeting in tournaments this week, as well as some of my favorite individual plays and stacks. But before we dive into that, everyone, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Every like, comment, and sub that you guys leave truly does help me out. And we're going to keep this video short and sweet. I am currently traveling on vacation right now for Thanksgiving, spending some time in Arizona with my family. So a little shorter video here, but we'll still kind of go through the same process. One of the game stacks that I do like targeting here this weekend is this game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think there's some heavy shootout potential here, and the volume that Jacoby Brissett has been passing at, it's really hard to ignore him, especially considering the projected ownership. I had him as a cash game play. Make sure you go check out my final cash plays video if you have not done that yet. But for some reason, he's floating around 6% projected ownership, which is under-owned in my opinion. So I like stacking him up with his top two pass catchers here in Michael Wilson and Trey McBride, and then running it back with Egbuka there on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side of things. Now, it does sound like Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to play this weekend, which I think is going to scare people off of Michael Wilson here. But if you listen to the interview with Marvin Harrison yesterday, he basically said that he doesn't feel 100%, he's a bit uncomfortable. I think they ease him back in, and plus, as Michael Wilson, he has now seen 33 targets in his last two games. I have a feeling they're still going to get him the ball with the way that he's played here as of late. And then another game stack that I like targeting here this weekend is this game between the Texans and Indianapolis Colts, and I like stacking up CJ Stroud here with Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz. You could put in Jaden Higgins here too at $3,900, the rookie wide receiver, but I kind of like going a wide receiver tight end combo here, and then running it back with Jonathan Taylor, who's projected to have around 7% ownership. Way too low for a guy who can go for 35 plus DraftKings points. Anytime I can get Jonathan Taylor at lower ownership, I think he's going to be a tournament play. He's like that Christian McCaffrey type mold, Bijan Robinson. Anytime you can get those guys at lower ownership, I think they need to be a tournament consideration. Now folks, before we dive into some of these individual plays and stacks here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, again, I would greatly appreciate that. Completely free for you to do, and every like, comment, and sub that you guys leave here truly does help me out on YouTube. Alright, now diving into some of these individual plays and stacks here, we're going to kick it off at the quarterback position, and I looked at this slate here, and it's not projected to be a very high scoring slate, so I said, okay, what are two teams that could put up 3-4 plus touchdowns? And that's going to be the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Rams, and yes, you're going to have to spend up for Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford, but they both offer a tremendous ceiling. I do believe that Josh Allen's going to get some decent ownership here this weekend. You can always get unique with him and just playing him by himself, maybe do a double stack. Really depends on what type of game you think Josh Allen's going to have. Is he going to throw for 3 touchdowns or run for 3 touchdowns? Or maybe he does both. Again, that's the ceiling that he offers. Matthew Stafford is, however, going under-owned this week, and at least his projected ownership says that. And this is a good spot here against Carolina. You could easily do a stack with Puka and or Devontae Adams. You can see I got Adams here on the cheat sheet. Colby Parkinson at $2,800 at the tight end position is kind of sneaky as well if you wanted to stack him in. Now moving on to the running backs here, and as I just mentioned with Jonathan Taylor, anytime we can get these top tier elite running backs or even wide receivers at lower projected ownership, I will take advantage of that in tournaments. CMC is projected to be around 11% projected ownership right now, which is running back 6 or number 7. So he's going to get a little bit of ownership here this weekend, but nowhere near what he usually gets. And I understand this is a tougher matchup on the road against Cleveland, but would anybody be shocked if he put up 25, 30 plus DraftKings points? I certainly wouldn't. Again, so I'll take advantage of that in tournaments. Really like the spot here for Travis Etienne against the Tennessee Titans, and really like the volume that he's been getting ever since Jacksonville's bye. And then Jaylen Warren here, you could kind of run it back in that game between the Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. I think there's some shootout potential there, and that Buffalo Bills rushing defense has been brutal this year, so I like Jaylen Warren at $6,300. And then as an honorable mention, I don't mind Ashton Genty at $6,400 either. Next, we got the wide receivers. receivers here, name drop Devontae Adams at $7,500. Puka Nacua is projected to be one of the more popular wide receivers this week, so I like pivoting off of that in tournaments and going with Devontae Adams at $7,500. He is an absolute touchdown monster with Matthew Stafford. Ladd McConkey, I thought he was going to be one of the higher owned projected players this weekend as well. Doesn't seem to be the case. That ownership between him, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnston is all getting spread out pretty evenly, and I like this spot here for the Los Angeles Chargers against Vegas. Jacoby Myers, I really like the routes that he was running last week. Snap count went up for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just think he's going to get heavily more involved in this offense for them, and a good price tag at $5,700. And then Jalen Waddle, considering that Devon Achane is projected to be the most popular player on this Week 13 main slate, again, I don't mind pivoting off of that in tournaments and going to Jalen Waddle. Now, I name dropped a couple of tight ends in my game stacks, but two other cheap tight ends that stuck out to me who are coming in around lower ownership as well as Juwan Johnson, the New Orleans Saints, and Brenton Strange of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then we'll wrap it up here with the defenses. We got the Seahawks at home, a good defense to begin with, taking on a rookie quarterback in Mac Brosmer for the Minnesota Vikings. You got the Miami Dolphins taking on a rookie quarterback as well, and they played particularly well in their last two games before heading into the bye, so I kind of think they're sneaky at $3,300. Really an opposites thing here, being that Seattle Seahawks defense will be very popular on the main slate this weekend. I don't mind pivoting off of that here for Minnesota, and they might just know some Sam Darnold tendencies that they can get after. And then the Titans here at $2,200, a cheaper defense as well, playing at home, and I don't mind the upside they offer considering their price. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great weekend here, folks, and let's win some money on this Week 13 NFL main slate.